Hello, everyone. It's Friday. It's time for Tips and Techniques Friday. Can't believe it's the end of the week and we're at our 4th of July holiday weekend. Wow. And it's raining outside. Woo! Can't wait for that. But we only have one day of that, luckily, and then it'll be pretty for all the rest of the weekend. So I decided to pull out. We have our soft pastel assortments. These are chalks. And I thought, yeah, we haven't played with these yet, and they're in our catalog. And it was time to play with doing some playing around and see what we could do with them. So I did a little experimenting, and oh boy, did I have a lot of fun with this. I tell you, I absolutely loved these chalks. Something completely different than our blends and our markers and our ink. It gives you a whole different look, but it's very simple. You just need a couple of tools. And I've kind of got a hint right here. We've got some Q-tips. We all have those in our house. And we have some daubers. So I thought, okay, this will work. And so I'm going to get you started. Hi, Barbara. How you doing? Good to see you. I'm going to get you started on this. I'm going to show you how to use them, how to get started with them. And then we're going to be using one of my favorite stamp sets, Butterfly Brilliance, because I thought this would be a fun thing to use with the pastels. And then we're going to use that to do some of our chalk with. We're also going to use our Stamparatus, which will be fun. So I'm going to show you a little tip on that also of how to use the Stamparatus. And of course, I had to turn my light on, my overhead light on today. So we'll see if hopefully that won't interfere with what we're going to be doing. But I'm going to show you, first of all, how to get started with the pastels and how do they come. These are the colors. I absolutely love them. We have Night of Navy. We have Granny Green Apple, Coastal Cabana, Mossy Meadow. This is going to be a test of all my colors here. We've got Gorgeous Grape, Poppy Parade, Mango Melody, and Daffodil Delight. So how about those colors? Hi, Marty. How you doing? Good to see ya. So they come like this, and they're just like a piece of chalk. But I'm going to show you how that you can use them. I'm going to use actually our silicone mat. And our silicone mat is good for many things. Adhesives. It's also good for your palette, for your chalks. How's that? And of course, we have to use our favorite tool, our piercing tool, and it's got a palette on here, and it's got all sorts of things, but we absolutely love this tool. So I'm going to go ahead and get this started. And what I do is that I take the palette end, because it's a palette end, and on the other end is a piercing tool also. But I'm going to use the palette today, and I'm just going to scrape off some of the color here onto the palette so we have some things to work with. And that's all you do. Just kind of take the edge, and you're going to do a little scraping so you have some chalk residue, I guess you would call it. So we have something to pick up with our daubers. And I'm going to do Granny Green Apple next, so I have enough of that. And I always recommend when you get started with your chalks that you do this a little bit, because I found there's almost like a little bit of a protective coating on here if you don't. So it made it hard to pick up the color in the first time without me doing a little bit of scraping on it just to kind of get it started. And then we have our Coastal Cabana here. So I'm going to get some of that color. And we've got our Mossy Meadow. Got to get all my colors together here. I just start from the basics of how I do a card, and that way you can watch the whole process here of how to work with this. And this will last you a long time. I've made several cards already, and I haven't even made a dent in these pastels. Poppy Parade is another great color here. Love that bright color. It really makes it pop with the chalks. And then this is Mango. Never thought I'd be using as much mango as I have here lately, but boy, It's almost one of my favorite go-to yellows. And then we have Daffodil Delight as our last color here. And scrape that a little bit. A little dab will do ya. All right. So I'll set those aside. I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to go back to my Stamparatus, which is one of my favorite tools here. And what I'm going to show you is this is a tip to do. I'm going to move our daubers out because I don't need those right this second. In our Stamparatus, of course, we have two hinges. We have this hinge, and then we have the hinge over here. What I'll do a lot of times is I'll go ahead and just place my item down, and then I pick it up with the hinge, and then I'll figure out where it is on here. We have grid paper that you can get for our Stamparatus, so you can always see where you're lined up. And what I did is I took a very light color and I stamped it. And the reason why I did that is because I want to see where I'm going to put my paper, because this image is bigger than my 4 by 5 1/4 piece of paper. Hi, Faye, how you doing? So I wanted to have an idea of where I wanted to place my card, on where I wanted what my image was going to look like. So that's why I stamped it in the soft seafoam. So that way it's not so dark, and it's very easy to clean off of your stamp also. So I wanted to do that. And my first technique is that I'm going to be using our Versamark. Our Versamark is a great tool for the chalks because it will pick up the actual chalk residue that is on there, that all my little mat that I just did. So that's what's nice about this. So you want to make sure that you get good, even coverage all through. So I make sure I stamp it several times, making sure that I get a good coverage on that. And I just ink this up with my refill, so I know it's probably going to be pretty juicy, which is good. Now, what I meant by I have my outline now of my butterflies. And as you can see, when I do my card layer, it's not going to use the whole image. But I know what images I really want to use on that. I really want more of this butterfly and this side than I do this side. And that's just a personal preference. So I'm just going to put this right at the edge here. See, I have my grid line that I can line this up with. And then I'm just not going to get these edges here, as you can see all around here. Now, because this is a full image, I really can't use my magnet for that. So what I do is I just take a teeny bit of any kind of adhesive, tape runner, whatever, just a little bit, just to put it in the middle. So when you lift up, in case you had to stamp it twice, it's not going to move. So that's all you do with that. So I'm ready to go, and I can go ahead and stamp my image. Now, I have a new tool. Look at that. Isn't that cool? We found this, and, you know, I have such a hard time as I get older in pressing this with my hands and my fingers that this is a great tool. And actually, Elaine has added this to her store, which I can kind of show you what that is. And that's at papercraftsbyelaine.com. And if you go to her favorite non-Stampin' Up! Products, this tool will be in there. And this is really an air hockey puck. And it's already got some felt that you can put on there. And what is nice is that you can press and see this and get this whole thing down without putting down, hi, Donna, how you doing? Without using your fingers in your hands. Because as we get older, arthritis or, I don't know, stiffness or whatever, whatever it is, it's hard. So I just do that, and then I can lift up on this. Now, it's going to stick to the Versamark a little bit, so I always stick my finger under there. And as you can see, it's giving me an image here. You can't really see it, but you can see the Versamark. It kind of gives you an outline there. You can kind of see just a very faint look to that. So that's really what you want when you're doing the Versamark. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and move that out of the way and get that all clean for my next technique down the road when I do this again. I'll show you two different ways. There are many ways that you can do this, and I will have some additional ideas, and I think I might do another video tomorrow. But this will give you an idea of how to at least get started on using the Versamark and your chalks. So I'm going to bring my palette over here. And on this one, I'm going to be using my daubers. Now, when I looked at it, that I've heard several people even recommend that you kind of set aside some daubers just for the chalks. I think you can. I don't think it matters as long as you take the same color family and use that dauber, because a lot of times when our daubers sit there, they kind of dry, so they're not really going to have a lot of color on them. But I did use some brand new ones just to make sure that I was going to be doing this correctly. Now, with this particular technique with the daubers, it's not going to be real dark. Now, I'm going to tell you, it's more of a pastel. So you just, this way you can kind of see your outline here. So what I do, I'll get it started so you can kind of see, is you kind of idea of where you're going to want the color in your butterflies or whatever your image is. You can use this with flowers, you can use this with birds, you can do all sorts of different things. But the daubers just kind of do that. Now, I will warn you that because we're having a little bit of the chalk, it will leave a little bit of residue around there, but I liked that look. I like that little bit of a halo look. So that doesn't bother me a bit. So I decided that you're not going to get a really, really clean look unless you use maybe the Q-tips. But I like the fact that it gives that bleed over around your image, so it's not so white. And it kind of gives you just that little bit of halo effect. Now, first I used the Gorgeous Grape, and now I'm doing the Night of Navy color. And see how I'm just daubing it on? Now, you can daub it once, and when I go back and get all my color in, sometimes I'll go back and decide I want a little bit more color on there, and then I'll daub it again. And then I just lightly daub those antennas, because we don't want you to leave the poor little guy naked. We want to outline him pretty good there. So that gives me a little idea of the light color there. So you can kind of see, I'll show you up close. See what that means? Kind of gives you that light image. It's going to give you still a little bit of halo. I have a little brush that I can brush off the little excess when I'm all done. I have seen people use a paper towel and wipe it off, but I feel that almost gives that a smeared look. So I didn't really like that too much. So I decided I would use my little brush that I have. Now I'm going to just keep going with my colors here. And I think on this one over here, I'm going to use a little bit of my Poppy Parade. And that's what's nice about these colors. You can just experiment and put in those colors wherever you want and mix them up. It doesn't matter. I think I'm going to do my Mossy Meadow on the outside of this one. It really doesn't matter. You know, colors are colors. You know, in butterflies, they can't be boring. They got to be pretty. So like I said, you just keep kind of going back over and see how much color you want on them. And you can go back once you get it all laid down. If you decide that one didn't get enough color or whatever. I have another one over here. I'm going to do this one in the Coastal Cabana. And then on the outside, since I have two colors, I have my Mango. I'm going to do my Mango on this one for the outside. Go back with a little bit more mark my Coastal and fill it in. And then on this one down here, I think I'm going to do a little Poppy Parade. Just on the bottom. I didn't get the whole thing, but that's okay. I didn't leave them out. And then I'm going to go back. Even with my Mango, I'm going to pick up a little bit of my Daffodil Delight and put that on there. Since it's the same family, doesn't matter. I don't have to have a complete different dauber for that one. But like I said, you just got to play around with it and see what you like, see what you don't like. If you see you got too much chalk on there, you can go ahead and just tap it off a little bit. It'll come right off. I think on this one, I'm going to do a little bit of the Gorgeous Grape, and I'm going to do that one around the edges. And on the yellow, I think I'm going to put more of that Mango Let's see. No, I think I'll do the coastal. Oop, got my wrong one. I'm getting a little wild there. All right, get my coastal cabana. Changed my mind. You know, and on that one, you can even go back and then just lightly add another color to it. Just kind of do what you want to do. Kind of gives a different haze to it. All right. And I got one more butterfly over here. So I'm going to go ahead and do, let's see, what am I going to do here? I think I'm going to do my greens. I'm going to do my Granny Green Apple. And then I think I'll do my, I'm going to go back and do my yellow. Tap that off a little bit. There we go. Get my yellow back there. All right. Now you'll see what I mean when I start working with this. I'm going to go back and fill some of this in now. I'm going to add a little bit more color to what I want since I'm playing around with this. Like I said, it's kind of fun. Just kind of do what you want to do and play how you want to play with it. And let's see, I think I'll do a little bit more of my blue on the outside. All right. And then I'm going to just take my little brush and brush it all off. Now it will see, you can see there's going to be some color, but I like the fact that it gives you that halo color around the, it gives that real soft look. And I think that is just so pretty. You could add some Wink of Stella to this to make it pop. You can add some bling. Really, the sky's the limit. But I just think this is such a fun and easy technique to do, to take any of your stamps, whether it's a full background stamp like the Butterfly Brilliance is, or you could do any of our other ones. You can even just take, I've got some other ideas that I did even a note card and I stamped a flower on it. And I'll show you about, I'll probably do a video tomorrow on that and I'll show you that one. But it kind of gives you an idea of, you can just do just about everything. And I just really like that. So when you put that on a card base, say I wanted to put that on Just Jade. Isn't that pretty? See how it just brings out those colors? And that didn't take you any time at all. Hi, Debbie. How you doing? Good to see you. So it really didn't take any time at all to do that. And that's just with the Versamark and then doing your daubers and using your silicone mat as a palette and just doing a little bit of scraping with the chalk dust on there. And there you go. There's one card done. So see, that almost works up my alley as a quick and easy card too. Now I'm going to do a next one and I'm going to do the same stamping, but this time we're going to be using our Q-tips. So those are we're going to use as a way of putting on the color. So let me move all this out for a minute and bring back my Stamparatus. And this time I'm going to stamp this with the Memento because I wanted something more of a bolder look. So I really wanted to give an outline to the butterflies. And I think using the Memento is a great way of doing that. And again, I'm going to outline, figure out where I want my color for my, what am I going to do this time on my, making sure I have everything. And I just put my cardstock down, make sure it's kind of even. I don't want it willy wonkered. Make sure that's why I kind of use the guide as my that's what I love about our grid paper. And I had a little bit of adhesive there. So this time I'm going to take my Memento and I like to rub it first to really get some good coverage on that, then all the tapping, and then I go back through and tap. But that when you rub it, I think it really kind of gets that ink in there. And then you can kind of go back and make sure that you got ink on the rest of the spots. Again, Stamparatus, you don't have to stamp it once. You can stamp it as many times as you want to get the look you want. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to use my handy dandy little tool here. I love this little thing. It sure does help my hand, I tell you. So I'm just going to press this down. You can hear my Coco in the background. She's telling me she's not happy. She said, Mommy, you left me. All right, I'm going to pull this up. And voila, there you go. And look at that coverage. Look at that. And I only had to do that once. And I don't want this real dark because I'm going to be doing the coloring on there. But I think that's some great coverage on that. And I tell you, this tool is great. So go to Elaine's site, and it's her favorite non-Stampin' Up! Products. And you can get that through her store. So I'm going to go ahead and get this going, and we can go and do this one, our next coloring. Go ahead and clean off my, I'm one of those, I like to clean my stamps almost right away. I don't like the ink to sit on them. Don't ask me why, but I do. And bring back my piercing mat and my paper like I always do. And this time I'm going to bring our palette over. And this time, instead of using the powder, I'm going to take and use this as my tool for coloring. And I'm going to take it right off of the palettes. So again, I'm going to go ahead and use my favorite color here, Gorgeous Grape. And I'm going to cut. Now, see how the color, give you an idea. Can you see that? See how the color goes on really quick? And I you don't have to press real hard, but you want to pick that up. You don't have to press real hard on your butterfly either, just to spread the color out. You can put it down the first time, and then again, you can go back with your tool and put on more color if you want. I just kind of press it in to kind of give me something to go with. And again, your imagination, you just kind of let it go with your colors. Now, and you can reuse those. So I'm going to go and pick up my Night of Navy, and I'm going to do my edges on that. Pick up my color. Just keep blending and coloring away. I mean, this is a great and fun piece of items that I love to do. I'm so glad that we had these chalks, something like this before a few years ago, and I'm glad that they brought them back because I think it just adds to the variety of different things that we can do with all of our coloring. And it's not all about sometimes our inks. Doing something with chalks is a lot of fun to me. So I'm just doing the color. And again, if you don't like that this is not dark enough, you can go back when we're done and pick up your little tools and put some more color on there. All right, so my next one I think I'm going to do over here, I'm going to do my Coastal Cabana. I think I'm going to do on the outside, I think this time. And the time you really can control how much you go on the outer edge too of, you don't have to do it like where you did your daubers. So you can actually control where you're putting the color in with your Q-tips. So that's another nice thing about doing this particular technique. It will give you a little bit more bolder color because I use Memento as my background. So it's going to be much bolder look to it. But that's why I like this, is that you can experiment with different items in your craft area. So, and you can just keep blending it until you, whatever you like. If you want to go back and put a little bit more Coastal Cabana down, you can. If your tools get a little bit too much, you can go ahead and get another one. It doesn't cost you hardly any money to use these. So a very cost-efficient way of doing your coloring on there. And I just keep sometimes brushing off the excess on there. You're going to have a little bit excess chalk on there. So I think my next one I'm going to do is I'm going to do Granny Green Apple, and I'm going to color this one over here, and I'm not going to do a lot of different colors on him. I think I'm going to kind of keep him kind of one color. I might dab something a little bit, maybe in the middle for him. But I just love these colors. I hope that they come out so we get some more of the more different or nice, better variety of colors would be nice. These are great to start with, but I really would love to see Stampin' Up! Come up with some more, because I think these are fun. And like I said, there are lots of different ways that you can use the chalks. So I'm going to come up with a little bit more tomorrow, I think, on that. I'm in the mood now to do some videos, so watch out. Especially when I'm in the mood to make a card, why not just pop on and do a video? Now on this one, you can actually even go back and add a little bit of area like this, just a little bit of shading. Doesn't have to be anything specific about a butterfly. You can just add a little bit of color to that. So see what I'm saying? Just add a little bit of color. Now on this one, I think I'm going to, let's see. On this one, we're going to go, I get my yellows now. I think I'm going to do some Daffodil Delight on this one. All right. So everybody got some fun plans for the weekend? Got the 4th of July coming up. Can't believe it's already in July. My word. How time flies, I tell you. Elaine will be back next week. So we're actually not going to do a video on Monday because we're taking Monday as our holiday. But she will be back Wednesday for her scrapbook pages, because we haven't seen her scrapbook pages in a couple of weeks now. So I'm sure we're all missing that. I know I am. I love watching her create things. So much fun. So I'm just playing around with this, putting some highlights in here. You can keep even mixing up the colors. You can put some little Coastal Cabana on him, just to kind of give them a little bit more highlights. I mean, you don't have to stick with one color at all on these. You just can do a little bit of shading. See what I'm saying? Just do a little bit more shading on that. I've got 2 more to do. So I'm going to go back down here and I'm going to do some outside area with my Poppy Parade. Let's see. But I love this look. I just think it's so much fun. And then I think I'm going to go get a new one, and I'm going to do my Coastal Cabana in the middle. Do a little bit more Coastal Cabana on here. I'm going to soften that up a little bit, and then I'm going to make the Poppy Parade more on the outside. And put a little bit more Coastal Cabana on the inside. Soften that up a little bit. All right. We're getting there. We're almost done. We'll have to go back and do a little bit of touch-up. You know how it is when you're coloring. You go, oh, I got to add a little bit more here. I love a little bit more there. And on my last one, I think I'm going to do some of my Gorgeous Grape. I'm going to do that around the edges for him. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and pick up some of my Mango Melody for here. Make him a little bit more interesting. He's got some pretty wings here. And then I'm going to go back and do my Poppy Parade, and I'm going to do that one in the middle. Kind of give him a little bit more definition in the middle. And I'll go back and do a little bit more See on here, I missed this area a little bit, so I'm going to make that a little bit darker. All right. Get my little brush. I love my little brush here. Brush that off. You know, if you find that some of your chalk area, maybe you made a smudge or whatever, I did a little experimenting, and an eraser actually took off quite a bit of it as long as it stays dry. So if you get a little bit of a smudge, you know, because we all do as we're crafters, nothing's perfect, you know, we get our fingers in the way or whatever. But I think that would be it's a nice little tool. And I like I said, I was able to get a smudge off with no problem at all. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more color back on this. So like I said, you can kind of go back and fix what you want to fix. Put a little bit more color in something if you wanted. More definition. But I'm kind of liking what I see here. I kind of like that. And I think on this one, I'm going to totally put Gorgeous Grape behind it, make it really pop. So that will be that one. I'm not going to do the inside. This was just kind of showing you what the techniques are. I'll go ahead and when I post these on my blog, I'll have some of the inside on there also. But you can put any sentiment. That's what's nice about this. You can keep it plain and then just add a sentiment later, like I like to do sometimes because I'm not really sure who I want to send it to, unless I'm making something very specific for a person. But that kind of gives you an idea. So let me give you, these are both on Gorgeous Grape, to give you an idea of what these two look like. So this is the one with the daubers, and I'll give you a close-up of that. And this was the Versamark. So like I said, very more of a very pastel, soft look on that. But I like that. I think that's just so pretty. Then this is a bolder look, looking at using the Memento and then using your Q-tips as your coloring tool. So that would give you two different ways of doing your cards. And I think that both of them are gorgeous. I wouldn't mind either getting one of these. So which one do you ladies like? Do you like the Versamark one, or do you like the Memento look? Kind of which tool? Give you an idea of, kind of give me an idea of, do you have your preference? So I'm going to call this Versamark, which would be number 1, and Memento is number 2. So I personally, I don't know. It's a toss-up for me. I like both. But I guess if I had to choose one, I don't know. I might go for the Versamark look because I like the soft. You don't get that very much with our colors sometimes. You get more of the bolder. So sometimes I like that soft look for something like, you know, maybe a get well soon card. This would be great for that. More of that softer look to it. So Mara, it looks like everybody likes the Memento so far. Faye likes it. Marty likes it. Barbara, they all like the Memento. But I think I kind of like the Versamark. But, you know, you can kind of play around with it and see what you can do. So like I said, I think I will come back tomorrow and do another short video. I've got a couple of other ideas that I can do with the chalks, and I can show you a couple other things to do. So I hope everybody has a wonderful afternoon. And like I said, Monday we will be dark because it will be our holiday. So we're going to be celebrating our 4th of July. My husband has the day off. Yay! And then we will be back Wednesday where Elaine will be doing her scrapbook page. We can't wait to hear all about her vacation. I'm sure everybody's been following her pictures. And I think right now she's in Washington, D.C. So she's working her way back. But she's had a great time. So have a wonderful weekend, ladies, and hopefully I'll see some of you tomorrow. Bye now.